Okay, I'll go ahead and get started, Kanvi. So I'm Preeti. My job is an IT portfolio manager, and I've been in this IT field for 25 years. Now, how I'm contributing to this, right? It's an IT field, right? So what I do in my daily job is the way I contribute is taking care of the complete portfolio. So there are, as you know, there are in any organization there are departments, and every department runs multiple portfolios. So there is one of the portfolio, which is if you have seen Cisco.com. So whatever you see on Cisco.com, that's the portfolio commerce side of it is what I handle. And what does it mean by portfolio management? It's about anything and everything that relates to your portfolio, starting with your stakeholders, your business requirements, what are needed, what enhancements are needed, what resources are needed, what budget is needed, what funding is needed. So name it, and everything needs to be taken care of. But of course, there are multiple huge teams, multiple team members working on their aspects. But starting with VPs, RVPs, and directors and all. So that's what entails as an IT portfolio management. I would love anyone else to take the same question.
Hi everyone, I'm Stint. Can you guys all hear me? So nice to meet you all. Describe your job and your experience. How are you contributing to your respective field? Well, I'm a product manager in the consumer space. Specifically right now, I'm managing a fintech product. And I would say my role as a product manager is mostly building products from idea to launch and growing them through metrics and usage and data. I'm also trying to solve the consumer problems, our customers' problems with working with research and design to make sure that we're addressing those needs, as well as figuring out what the other competitor products that we are competing against in our and trying to find out ways and strategies to evaluate opportunities for us to leverage and move forward. So I would say that would be the strategy piece. In terms of like what the field contributing to the field, and because product management is a very open and loose kind of role, there's a lot of depending on what the company does and structures. I personally feel like us solving user problems as well as figuring out ways to grow your product is something that I think every product manager in the industry is contributing in some way.
Nice. I guess I can go next. So, hello everyone. My name is Glicia Corden. I am the founder of Leading Learners, which is essentially an edtech enterprise that brings like a centralized approach at student resources. So, I suppose in my role, as a startup, I guess I'm kind of overseeing everything. So, I could be working on emails on like a day-to-day basis, or just making sure that our team communication is running smoothly. And then as for how I guess we're contributing to, I guess that student population or being an edtech platform, I suppose that we just kind of build a bridge between our target audience being students and resources to best support them.
Hi everyone, I'm Vivian. I'm an iOS software engineer on Instagram, and I work on the feed, interactions, and creation. So my team owns like the feed, and interactions is like likes, comments, anything on like you're interacting with, essentially, and then also creation. So any feed posts you make. And I think that like what I'm contributing is, I think it's really cool that I'm one of 4 iOS engineers on my team, and so the amount of impact and changes that I can make is just like unreal. Like with 1 billion daily active users, like I think that's a rare role to be able to have. Yeah. So.
All right, so that brings us to our next question, which is a little bit similar, but whoops. So what is the typical day for you at work look like, and what do you like most about your job?
You want me to go again first? So a typical day, maximum amount of time is filled with meetings. And, at times you would say, I hate meetings and things like that. But every meeting, what I consciously remind myself is every meeting is solving a purpose. So most of the part is in meetings, and then you have to do your heads down, some of your heads down work to prepare for the next meeting. So maximum part of my day involves with meeting, subordinates or my leaders, and explaining someone what needs to be done or understanding, what needs to be done. So, and filling out huge templates with what funding we need and what resources we need and where we are, where do we want to go, and what are the services we are providing. So it's all, my typical day is filled with meetings, but a lot of heads down work. What I like most about my job is the impact that I can make towards my team and eventually my company. You can find 100 reasons to hate it, right? But I look for reasons to love it. And this is something my whole job is what I love. Yes, what I like the most is, as I said, is the impact, because directly or indirectly, I'm touching every aspect of my team and my leadership, and how I can positively achieve the goals that our team and our organization has, is what I keep connecting to. Whatever I do, I keep connecting to that, and that's what I love about my job.
Any of you are free to go ahead next.
Yeah, I guess unmuting is kind of the signal there. So yeah, I just want to make sure I understand. Yeah, so typically, I know that it's kind of nice to say you check your emails in the morning once and at night, but that's probably not the case. Honestly, I reserve an hour in the morning just for daily tasks. So like ensuring that everyone's doing well and going through emails. That will probably take another a full 30 minutes of the hour that I have reserved for just daily tasks. But then throughout the day, similar to Preeti, really just lots of meetings. It doesn't necessarily have to be within our team, but really so many people outside of our team, and also as we're trying to grow and really get ourselves out there, quote unquote, we are doing a lot of speaking engagements. So usually on the weekends, like in the afternoons, I like to reserve them for speaking. But then as for, I guess, daily work, lots of just heads down work, honestly, and providing documents, ensuring processes are going well, really just overseeing everything as a whole.
I can go next. Actually, wrote this down because I was trying to be as practical and helpful to share everyone what a typical day in my product management experience is like, because it's very different from other product managers. But I wake up and I usually attend the daily stand-ups with the designers and developers. And that's around anywhere from 15 minutes to 25 to 30. And then I check my Slack and emails and any of the Jira comments that were made by either the QA or all the other team players on the team, and answer those questions. And then the second or the third thing I probably would do is have meetings with the stakeholders to kind of give updates on what the team is working on, as well as figuring out if there's any new things that they want to talk about or discover And that's a conversation that happens, whether that's about a business goal or some sort of user problem. We just have that connection for that purpose. And then I really like to look at data. So I always make like 15 minutes in my day to try to look at what's happening to the usage, the behaviors, bounce rate, retention, new users, so on and so forth. I get really excited about that. So I always like have a time on a day to do that. And then like the later on, the other meetings would be mostly like a collaboration with research and designers on figuring out what's happening next, if they need help with prioritization, if they need to bounce off ideas. So that's kind of that meeting is like mostly in the afternoon. And then I do more of a heads down work just on my own with market research. And then I work also sit in the user research and usability testings that my designers and UX team is working on. And I don't usually always do that whenever I have time. I try to go like once a day for an hour or something, but they're constantly doing that. So I can't make it to all of those meetings because it's not very feasible. And then I like do more heads down work, writing some of the epics, and then figuring out ways to run some of the experiments that we're kind of wanting to test out new things and trying to see like where we can go. So that's kind of like a day in a life of a very productive product manager.
So I normally wake up around 10 and start work around 10:30. My team is pretty flexible though, so like our earliest meeting ever is at 11:20 a.m. And so like people can start, like essentially the first thing you have to do is make it to that meeting and then just get your work done. And so yeah, around like I get ready, I think about what I'm going to say during stand up, look at my tasks for the day, what I want to get done, look at like my yeah. And so sometimes I have a few other meetings, like an hour or two during the day. And then some days are worse than others. Like Thursdays, like, cause we have Wednesdays, no meeting days. Thursdays are just like booked with meetings. So I will get like no coding done that day. But yeah, so like I spend most of my time until like around, I take lunch for an hour, and then until 7, I try to like heads down code. But there a lot of the times, like during that time, you're still like getting chat messages and you're gonna have to reply to them. And there's gonna be other things that come up. And I wish it was like one project, but there's like 10 projects happening at the same time sometimes. And you just have to coordinate with everyone and be able to be like, okay, this one comes first and this one comes, like, I don't know. But it's, I really love it. And like the part that I love most about my job is I'm never bored. And I'm always busy, and I'm like, my mind is always working. There's always something new, like a new problem to solve. And it's like, there's never like one way to solve any problem. Normally it's like a bunch, and you just have to figure out what's the best way to solve it for us. And yeah.
So this is a quick follow-up question. We have a lot of different roles here, like you all come from different parts of the industry. Some of you are product managers, some of you are developers. So it's really like kind of cool having you all here at the same time. And you all referenced having a stand-up meeting first thing in the morning. So with your roles being different, how does a stand-up meeting work? And like, how would you explain that to like high schoolers and our participants here, and like your specific role in the stand-up meeting?
Yeah, so because I'm overseeing a lot of the product development process, the stand-up meeting is held by the Scrum Master on our project team, and team giving updates on what they did the day before, what they're going to do right now, and then what are blockers for them. So that's kind of, and each team member goes around talking about that, and I just listen just to see like if I can help out with any questions or decisions or prioritization. So that's kind of my role in those stand-up meetings at the moment.
Like as an engineer, like it's kind of like a sync with your team, and I have it like we have it Monday, Wednesday. No, we have Yeah, we have it like 3 times a week. So like between the time, so I would like, let's, for example, like I'm an engineer, right? And so I'm like, oh, I landed X project yesterday. Today I'm hoping to land XYZ, and or like I'm working on this and I hope to finish it by X date. And then like sometimes, let's say like, oh, I'm blocked on like this they I don't know what API, blah 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 blah. And you can talk to like the team and be like, okay, how do I get unblocked by this? And like your manager or your like PM or like another engineer could help you with that. So yeah.
So I'll answer this, Anvi, as a holistic purpose, holistic aspect of it. I have done stand-up meetings in my past roles, not in my portfolio management. I don't have a stand-up meeting, but just to summarize, because I've done in this industry all the roles like engineer, developer, analyst, project manager, product manager. So think of it. I'll take an example with an analogy that, let's say you have gone to Disneyland with your group of friends or group of families or so, and all of them want to go to different rides, right? So you guys enter the park together. Think of it, that's your project, right? Project or product. And usually stand-up meetings are not supposed to last more than 15 minutes. At times they do last 30 minutes or more, or lesser, even lesser than that. But think of with that analogy that you are in the park, you all go together, and then you all take up the map, what rides are there. And two of you decide you want to go to that ride, two of you decide you want to go that ride, and your mom decides to sit, she doesn't want to go any ride, so every different participant in the team has a role to play. So a stand-up meeting usually includes Scrum Master, product manager, as Sid said, the engineers, the developers, the testers, and at times the analysts also. So those are kind of the key roles that they are in that stand-up meeting. What you do in that is, uh, just like in the park, you would have decided, okay, we both are going to that ride, we both will be doing this, we both will be doing that and all, and let's huddle back like in an hour and a half, right? So you make a plan for next 1.5 hours that, I will do, and let's meet at 11:30 back here, right? At this point or so. And then, then you again decide that, 5 minutes you huddle up and you say, okay, now I want to go to that ride, or now, that sort of thing. And then you all come back for lunch, let's say together, let's all take lunch together. So it's about, stand-up meetings are, you have a roadmap to your complete sprint. And as we can go details, what is a sprint and all that, is basically you have 2 week, 3 week sprint, and at the end of the sprint you have to deliver something, which could be, let's say, a 2 week sprint. But in that 2 weeks, because things have to run so fast, you meet up, you quickly huddle to tell about what you did, what you did, what you're going to do, and any of the hurdles that you are going to, that any of the hurdles or the blockers, as Sim said, that you are facing, so that the scrum masters or the product managers or the stakeholders can work towards in helping you to remove that blocker. So that's kind of a summary. Engineers have to go and start their coding. Product manager has to go and start talking to the stakeholders. Teams who have to come for demos, that this is what we have developed, right? So it's basically kind of making a quick huddle. It's not a complete planning meeting, but it's a quick huddle. Stand-up meeting is quick daily huddle, and everyone customizes to their needs. Quick daily huddle to say, where are we going, and what are our blockers, and how to solve them.
All right. So that was pretty insightful. Oh, sorry, would you go ahead?
Yeah, I was just going to end up because I think it's very interesting that, because we're all in different roles. I could just quickly end off here. As a chief executive, you're not usually, I guess, seeing like all the nitty gritty, I guess. So you're kind of, I'll guess kind of put it in your kind of perspective. You are to meet with fellow executives and see how work is going, kind of go around table. And like Vivian said, it's more so a sync. So because we do them at the beginning of the week, usually they're up to 30 minutes, and we, have them to kind of just see how work is going as like an overview, which is really great because, sometimes we may get a little bit too much into the specifics, but I think that if anyone here is considering either moving up or, you are in that role, then you're just kind of overseeing things as a whole. And because it is at the start of a week, we're really comfortable, honestly, and we may even spend some time speaking about weekend plans. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, so I was just going to say that it looks like communication and time management plays like a really important role in your job. This is kind of the next question is kind of like a different aspect, I guess. So this is how did you pursue your passions in your profession, whether it be through college or through acquiring certain jobs? We also have a new panelist join us, Tiana. She's also an iOS developer. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, then go ahead and go next.
Hi, everyone. I was just having a bit of some tech issues, as we all know, from being from home for so long. But yeah, so as Anvi had pointed out, I'm an iOS developer, and I'll just jump right in. I don't want to kind of draw a spot to the beginning. So you'll get more of my story as we can answer the questions. And because I'm talking, I guess I'll go first, if that's okay with everyone. And so I development not through school originally. I went to school for something else in environmental science, graduated and was working for a bit, and then got introduced to it by, I think, how some of you guys joining this hackathon might have been introduced to it. Like, you kind of find out about it and then like looked for more information, maybe joined a hackathon or read videos. And so doing that is kind of how I guess pursued my passion in the profession, in the sense that I kind of was watching YouTube videos, taking books out from the library. I think by buying a Udemy course every now and again when I was trying to figure out what I was interested in and where things were going to go. And then doing that, eventually I started working on projects myself, and then started working on projects with people, with friends or people on the internet, or just kind of wherever I could kind of joining meetups and however I could kind of get more involved. And I think I had during 2 hackathons. This was all after school. So I know some of you guys I know everyone here is in high school, but that also just means that, like, don't think that you kind of have to have it all figured out by the time you finish school, or that you need to figure it out before going to school. It's like you'll find your interests and you'll kind of go through and you'll kind of pursue those as you go. It is a marathon. Doesn't have to be done. You don't have to be an expert at this by the time you finish high school. And then eventually kind of landing a job in the field and then going from there. And so that's kind of how I guess I pursued my passion.
I guess I could go next. So I am a product manager. So how did I pursue this passion? Well, I was really good at math in college, surprisingly. And then I wanted to do more practical stuff. So I was either like gonna do engineering, which was like the full engineering, or software engineering. And then I took like web development and really fell in love with it. So I pursued it on doing computer science, and in that internships and in those roles, I saw all these key players that we were just talking about at the daily stand-ups, whether that was a product manager or a scrum master or a QA or a designer. So I started to see what people were doing in those industries, especially on my team, and then trying to figure out, I really love to design as well. And there were some moments where I was like, oh, maybe I should pursue design, or I should do more front-end development work. And also wanted to step more into the leadership position, mostly because there were times when I would build stuff without really understanding why we were building it. And then I think that was the really pivoting point in my career where I felt like maybe I could be the one to figure out why we're building this, whether it's about the data or whether it's about solving a user problem or something, right? Or meeting a business objective. When I would ask, there'd be a little bit of confusion on why I would ask that. So I felt like, let's find ways to become this product manager. So I did a lot of Udemy courses as well. And then I did a bunch of freelancing, just working with small founders, trying to help them build products, and working with my friends in those freelancing projects who were very good at back-end work that would help me kind of build this product from the ground up. And that kind of led into more ideation kind of mentality, and then trying to piece all of those together and figuring out you know, how I could be this full-time product manager. And eventually through hard work and a lot of pivoting points, it did happen. And therefore I'm really grateful. And so that was kind of my journey on figuring out what I wanted to do. But again, you're having during internships and also after college.
So my journey is I'll just take a quick summary. It's a long journey. So this is like around 1990s. You know, those days we did not have as much computer science exposure that everyone has. I did an undergrad with physics and electronics. And you know, I went around giving interviews with physics and electronics related jobs, and I somehow happened to find out after my undergrad that, oops, no, really, this is not for me. I'm not going to go and, you know, soldering circuit boards and things like that. So, and it happened that I took up a job in electronics, and I happened to not like it. And so I just started looking around. You're so young, you're just undergrad, and looking around, and me and my friend happened to find a sales job, you know, sales, and that sales was in software. And this is, I'm talking about 1992 or 93. So a couple of months we did that job. And it was, my job was about selling software and her job was selling hardware. So we were like two in a team. And while selling that software, my passion grew into, because it used to be a software and accounting software, and my interest grew into how is that software built, you know, because those days we used to have like computers with you know, heavy computers, not these flat screens and all, and laptops, no laptops and all. And that's when I learned, started to learn about computers. We did not have Google and all that to research. We started reading books, going to the library together, and I started to find out where can I get education. And I found that you know, there are institutes who are giving diplomas. And so first I did a diploma in computer science for a year, and my interest continued to grow, and software kind of became my solution, you know, passion. And across whole everything, you know, solution was my passion. There is a problem and we need to solve it. That was my passion. And I finished my diploma after my undergrad, and then I was not satisfied, so I went for my 3-year master's. Did that master's, ended up in, you know, wonderful jobs, and started as an engineer, a developer, then grew into an analyst and a project manager, and, you know, program manager and product manager, and now a portfolio manager. So that's kind of my you know, how I brought my passion into this profession.
Sounds great. I guess I can go next. Yeah, so for myself, you know, I'm still quite young, so it's actually a really funny story, but we had initially started like completely as a nonprofit, and I was just going to, you know, create this platform, just like work together with great people that I was able to connect with through LinkedIn. And I honestly did not have like any experience at all in business. Like I was trying really, really hard in school, so I didn't really have time for, you know, all these other extracurriculars. But through internships and through other, you know, I guess smaller roles, similar to Sint, I think that I just wanted like to start something of my own. And I realized, like, honestly, also similar to Sint, like having things that people were giving you and not really being able to understand them, or feeling like they could go in a completely new direction, but you just couldn't have that, I guess, final say to say that or to do that. That was like a really large reason why I just wanted to have that leadership role. And honestly, I think that the largest reason why I was able to, you know, really pursue this passion was because I did kind of take that extra step ahead from, I guess, other peers. I was actively trying to set up like coffee chats and things that I could, different meetups that I could, you know, go and find new people. And that's honestly the largest thing you can do when you're kind of making that intersection between business and technology.
So I mean, I think that like first off, I figured out that tech was my passion through like building like projects. Like I saw like my friends and I, we just like saw things in the world that were wrong, and we were like, you know what, we could like technology is powerful. Let's fix it. And like one of the first things that I built that I realized like I love tech and I love engineering and like you can solve so many things is one of my friends couldn't find a gender neutral restroom that fit their gender identity. And we were like, all of us got together. We're like, why is this so hard? It should not be this hard. There's like tech to do like crazy things these days. It should not be this hard. And so we literally just built one. And it worked. And like, and like, to be honest, like that was like the moment I knew, like, I was like, okay, I can fix things. I can make solutions. And I don't know, it's just like, yeah. So just find out like what's wrong, like yeah, find out what's wrong and you want to fix, or like even try to fix. You don't even have to do it, but just like try, like figure out a way. Like, yeah, I don't know. And also like internships and all that, like, yeah, again, networking wise, it's like super important. Just like talk to people. I think be genuine. Like people can tell if you're like only there to want to talk to them, like, or want something out of it. Just like try to get to know people. And I think people are always willing to help. Yeah.
Wow. I think one thing in common you all have is that like problem solving drive. Like you all want to solve problems, and I just love your enthusiasm for it. This is a little bit of a different question as well. Hold on. Can I change the slide real quick? Yeah. Oh, it went back. Whoops, sorry, give me a second. I guess I'll just say the question out loud till our slide changes. Um, yeah, so how has your experience been in a traditionally male-dominated field?
Um, I started learning computer science. So like I was very special where I not like, but I feel like I was very lucky in the sense I learned like like I started my thing through like Girls Who Code and Code with Clossie, where like I'm learning with like a bunch of other like women. And like they're like these nonprofits. I really recommend them if you all haven't looked into them, like Girls Who Code, Code with Clossie, and CWIT, and like Black Girls Code. Amazing nonprofits with goals to increase diversity. And I learned like just like the basics of computer science through them, and I like was able to be confident and like slowly, I don't know, like I think if I had learned it elsewhere, like I don't know if I would still be here today. And I'm really glad that I did it. Um, and I also then I went to a women's college. And so like for the first time this year, essentially in my internships, I've had to be in a male dominated field. And it isn't the easiest thing, but I don't think like, I think that people are like making active effort to try to like, and also like if you're open to talking about it, people are open to like also talk to you about it. Yeah, I don't know, like it's yeah, I think it, I wish there were more, and I really want to pave the way for others, but like, you know, you got to be there first, unfortunately. So yeah.
Yeah, love the way, Vivian, you put it. So the way I would put it is accept the fact that yes, there is male domination in this field. Um, but the point that I would say is don't keep that in your mind or on top of your mind. You know, this is to out all the girls here, and I'm feeling so happy to see all the girls, you know, coming together in this hackathon. And you know, it's so my message and the way I have done is accept the fact that there's, yes, there is male domination, but don't keep it at the top of your mind. Now attend as many, what I have done is yes, you know, when promotions happen and things like that, yes, there could be a bias, but trust in your leadership, trust in your organization, trust in your company, trust in the society, right? um, Put yourself out there, you know, women do not have a tendency to go and ask for an example, ask for anything, basically, let's say a raise in the salary, right? You Women do not tend to do that. So I would say try to strike a balance between doing your job right, doing it with full passion, giving your 100% in that, and go ahead and ask for it. Ask for promotion, ask, and that's what women, and how I learned all this is by going into loads of women oriented conferences, which our company itself and our teams and our organization motivates us to do. We have a lot of learning, I would say, not only some, we have a lot of learning to do, to go ahead and put your best out there, market yourself, right? I mean, of course, there is a balance, there is a limit to it, but yes, there have been different kinds of experiences, in and it is how you take it, right? It's just like any philosophy, any experience that happens to you, it's how you take it, between the stimulus and your response, that power you, how to respond to that stimulus, right? So if a male dominated in a male dominated world, if you come through a situation or an experience where you literally feel that there is a male domination going on, just go out, talk about it, talk about to your leadership, talk about, and that's how I did, is ask for what you want, what you are doing, go put yourself out, create your own brand, and take it away from your mind that this is a male dominated field and I cannot succeed, or I can succeed only to this level. And of course, keep your ethics with you. So I would say that's the way I would put it, and how I experienced a bunch of things, and how that mindset is what matters. That should you pull yourself down by thinking that this is a male dominated field, or you want to make it your power, right? And work it out for yourself, find a solution to that. That's what I would.
I also like to just kind of piggyback on what Vivian and Preeti are saying, and kind of add to that a bit, and just say that, like, as personally in my personal life, I've kind of been occupying a lot of male dominated spaces, and not knowing it, especially as a kid, you don't really think like that. I played sports heavily as a child, and those were always kind of like a lot of attention on boy sports, not girl sports, and that's depending on the sport, obviously. And then I did the STEM, and I was active in both STEM in high school and in university, and that was traditionally, at least now things are changing, but traditionally there was a lot of, the ratio was more leaning towards male versus female. And then, pre-career transition and after the career transition, I'm kind of always seem to be in these spaces that lean more heavily towards more men in this room than women. And to what Preeti was saying is, don't let that be the thing you focus on day to day. Like, if you're enjoying what you're doing, whether it be sports or this profession or if you're enjoying it, kind of use that as the driver for why you're continuing. Don't let the fact that you are female or that there aren't enough females be the thing that like stops you from doing it. Because to what Vivian said is, like, unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time, is somebody has to go first. In the sense that if you think about it, most professions that we have these days were male dominated at one point in time. And if there's not almost parity, it's getting pretty close to in certain fields, or there have been complete flips where what used to be male dominated is now very female dominated, and kind of goes back and forth. Or just, not that that's obviously the solution, but just don't let that be the thing that stops you from doing something that you're interested in. If you're interested in it, you will always find like-minded individuals, male or female, that are interested in it, that you can connect with, and that will kind of advocate for you or with you whenever you need them. And like what Preeti was saying, rely on the people and the communities that you're a part of. And and if you see things like and are meant, are like, speak up if you can, and if you don't feel comfortable, find somebody you are comfortable with to talk to about those things, whether that be at work or in in your own personal circles, but definitely don't let this idea that like there's more men in the room scare you away from kind of following the things you're enjoying.
Yeah, I'd love to bounce off everything Kiana, Preeti, and Vivian had said. Something I kind of noticed was, not letting that really be the determining factor in whether or not you actively try to pursue that role, and I 100% agree. And there's another kind of direction I would also take that in, which was something I had written down, not to be afraid of actually sharing your experiences, because I know that personally, honestly, in my resume, I would like limit things that I was like, is this really that important? I'm like, there's skills that, for example, my friend who was completely trilingual, she was like, and this wasn't even like a tech role, just like any role, honestly. She was like, I don't know if that's that important. And I'm like, that is something so valuable that honestly like cuts down so many other people. And I feel like that was something that even just for basic internships, I was like, I don't know if I want to include everything here, but and that also, is on social media. I felt like I don't really want to, draw attention to myself. But honestly, like if you're one of the first, like Vivian mentioned, like that's something to honestly be proud of. And I think it's not to be shamed, I guess, to be proud of your own accomplishments and honestly hide anything away from people when you're applying for a job or you're trying to actively seek this new position or even start something of your own.
Yeah, I think everyone said great things and very helpful things. Me like wanting to work with more women has always been a goal in my career. It's definitely really hard to be in that space right now because of it is super male dominated. But then I come to these events on the weekends and I personally feel connected to you guys. There's also communities that you can reach out. In college, used to like specifically participate in women's hackathon just so that I would, see people that are like me doing big things and not feel like an outsider in some ways. So those are some of the energy bounces that I would try to get so that, I don't think of myself as an outsider in my work situation. So I think those are really key tips as well. Joining other groups like Build by Girls, and there's a million other ones that everyone mentioned. Just to surround yourself with more women as well that are doing the same thing that you're doing. They're just not with you every day.
All right, so I guess like the general idea here is women help other women. We should be connected circle. The next question today is a little bit of a throwback. So if there is one thing you would tell your past self when you were younger, the high school you or the college you, what would it be? Like that one thing you wish you knew then?
Go ahead, Vivian.
No, please.
Oh, I guess just to reaffirm something, when I was younger, I thought that it was weird. Not that it was weird, sorry. I thought that not knowing and just like kind of wanting to dabble in a bunch of things was somehow not the way to do it, because it seemed, oh, you should know where you want to go, you should know what you should want to do, and you should have a really clear path if you want to get somewhere. And I was always kind of the consummate, like, oh, I like that, I want to play with that for a while. And oh, I like that, and I want to play for that for a while. And I guess some people would say like, be a specialist and not a generalist. And I found to be, as I've gotten, like there is value in kind of in dabbling, in a sense that like you'd be surprised how many skills can be translated into another field or into something, or how being like having exposed yourself to everything that you're interested into, and not that you have to take everything you're interested in to the expert, like to being an expert. It's okay to just kind of like something and like and see that skill through. And you'd be surprised how sometimes some of those skills can come right back around to help you or save the day down the road. And so that's just one thing. Like if I was like my younger self, it was just like to tell myself that it's okay to kind of just be interested in things and explore those interests, and and that's not inherently a bad thing. So that's what I would tell myself.
I think that like one thing I wish I did earlier was like growth mindset. Like it takes in as like I don't know, like your mind, you can learn anything, like anything you put your mind to. Do not ever say like, oh, I'm not smart enough for that. Like there's no way. Okay, you can know it could longer. It could take a good amount of time, but you can do it. And also like I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't know I was able to get this role, right? I literally was just like I asked for it and they were like, okay. And I was like, okay, cool. And that's it. Just like set your goal high. And don't let yourself say you can't do something. Let somebody else tell you that. Okay. Like you're going to set yourself like back so much. Just like set like crazy goals. Just do it. But like, don't put yourself down if you can't make them. Just like, don't hold yourself back by that. And I think I also felt like I had to know everything. And there's a lot of technology where like, yeah, you don't know everything. And that's okay. You can look it up. You can use Google in your job. I use Google every single day. And just like be okay not knowing everything and being able to learn it as you grow.
I would say one thing to myself in different ways. One thing I would say is I had too much of like, I can do it. I would say I would tell myself, take it easy. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. So, if you just twist them, they are all the same things. Is literally take it easy and enjoy what you are doing. Don't take yourself so seriously because no one does, right? Sometimes we get into too much serious, this grades, or I want this position in my company, or whatnot, right? So if I were to go back in the past and tell myself, is continuously remind yourself, have fun, take it easy, don't take anything so seriously.
I think that something I would say is honestly kind of like the growth mindset, but it's like honestly moving forward from things that maybe happened in the past, or you feel like they maybe went wrong, or you're not too sure because you have like, for example, lack of experience in a certain area that it will go far. And there it's kind of actually opposite to something I've been hearing. For me, it depends, I guess, how you are as a person, but I still kind of am very introverted. Like I wouldn't actively go out and like speak to people. And speaking at these events on the weekends are like really, really fun. I like to do them honestly every weekend if I can. But honestly, I would just say to treat every day as like a new opportunity to either improve upon a certain area that you're trying to, because nowadays, like I take every single day with the 24 hours that I have, and I don't think about like a whole week's behind. I honestly just try to focus on that singular day and what I need to get done, and what maybe I got some progress on yesterday, but really want to further work on it today. And honestly, I think in summary, just trying to work better towards whatever you're trying to do each and every day.
I mean, I love all those points, and they're all something that we should like think of even today. And I just personally, for me, just not focusing on what other people are doing was something I wish I had a bit more thought to it, because there are moments I would look around and see other people's careers taking off, and me wanting to switch careers and also trying all these new things. It seemed like it was not possible. So I felt like, if I had to go back, I would tell myself to not look at what other people are doing, and just to kind of dream big and set goals high, and be brave to go after them by taking actions. And again, like doing something small every day is something very practical and realistic. So I would push myself to think that way if I, could tell my younger self. And also, like, if other people don't believe in you, that's okay. You can always find other people who will. And as long as you believe in yourself, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I would also like to add, hearing all of you, like, don't compare yourself any. If someone gets a promotion earlier than you, if someone has moved up faster than you, or don't compare yourself. Someone gets there, sooner. Someone will get there later, and it's okay to fail. I was so afraid to fail. Fail in the sense, if I don't excel, I consider it as failure, right? You take up a project, you had a small science project in your undergrad or so, and I would be afraid if I get lower grades in that. Lower grades to me was equal to failure. And you cannot excel in everything. So it's okay to fail, or okay to learn from your mistakes. And that's what I would also add to that.
So this is a quick follow-up question, actually. It came to me like just right now. Um, you all talked about growth mindset and having growth and all of that. I wanted to know, like, what does the growth mindset mean to you specifically? Because online or like even in school, when they're like growth mindset, to be your better self every day, do this, do that. It's kind of like very narrowing. So what do you think the growth mindset means to you?
Oh, I was scared. I was scared someone was gonna. Oh no, Preeti, go. I was scared. Okay. So yeah, I think honestly, many people ask me about that. Like, how are you not thinking about things like from so long ago? Like on a certain like maybe problem or quote unquote problem. I honestly just see every single opportunity as something to further work on. And if there's someone who doesn't believe in you, I think Sin had said, or if there's a certain problem like within, I don't know, within your workplace, I think that each and every day, or at least every single like opportunity that you're given, is a new, I guess, page in a book. I think that's the best way I can really put it. It's honestly like a new step you're going to take. And I kind of try to forget what happened in the past, but if I can't, like, I honestly just think this is just going to take me to somewhere better. And that's what I say every single time. Like, if I see a problem, quote unquote problem, sorry, I think I see it as, this is just an opportunity. It's going to take me to somewhere further. And even if you don't see it in the moment, it will eventually come.
I don't really, I guess this is my age showing, but like, I don't really know the term that intimately. I don't know specifically what it's supposed to mean, but when you say the words growth mindset, I just, to what everyone else has been saying, it sounds like where like always kind of seeing things as an opportunity to expand yourself, or like in any way, like not necessarily like, oh, that you're always supposed to be climbing some sort of ladder to perfection or anything. Just like, it can be small things, where just small things that will kind of help to make your experiences in the world a bit better, a bit lighter, whether that be in work, with friends and family, with your own, how you personally feel about yourself, and just kind of taking those opportunities when you can, or just not even always taking them, just kind of noticing when they're there, that they're there, and that they're always something you can come back to. But I think for more importantly is like, and to kind of what everyone has been already saying, is just don't really worry about what other people believe that term is supposed to mean, or what you're supposed to do. Do what feels good for you, what feels natural for you. Don't try and don't try and put yourself in a box, like, oh, growth mindset means this, so I have to be doing this Monday to Friday, or I have to do these things on the weekend. Like, just do what feels comfortable for you, and that you can actually take on. And to be honest, 9 times out of 10, if you're doing that, you're kind of doing the right thing. The second you try and do what not what other people tell you to do, but like when you try and do things that feel unnatural to you, you'll end up in conflict with yourself, and that's where you kind of start to have doubts or anxieties about certain things. So just take it easy, take it day by day, and just go from there.
So to me, growth mindset, what's growth is about, success, right? Where you want to go, right? So define your own growth. That's what I tell myself, repeatedly at times when I reflect on myself. To me, growth or success is as long as I have found a balance in terms of what I enjoy doing. I enjoy the balance of succeeding to a certain level in at work, being able to take care of my family, kids what they need, other people in the family what they need, and taking care of myself, right? So to me, growth is success, meaning what you need. And to me is I want to find what I enjoy doing and find that balance. To me, that's what success is to me. And that's the reason my growth mindset goes towards learning, sharing, um, at times people don't share information. To me, sharing your knowledge is also growth. So it's such a subjective term. Define your success and grow towards it. To me, it's a balance. As long as I can find time for myself, time for my spiritual health, time for my physical health, time for my family, and time for my work, right? Whatever matters to me, is what I would say is growth mindset to myself.
I growth mindset is like you can learn anything you put your mind to. That's my definition. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Don't make
Sweet,
it.
yeah, sweet and simple.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess echoing that, just kind of for me, it's like, how do I want it to get to the next level when I think of growth mindset? Again, it could be like career related, it could be like other soft skills that I want to work on, and trying to figure out how I can get there. And through being with community or sharing my knowledge and trying to figure out if I can network with someone based on that. Those are some of the tactics that I usually like to do to try to grow myself to the next level. Yeah. And there's no timeline that I set myself to do it. Some days I go faster because I'm super passionate, or other days I'm just overwhelmed with other stuff, so I don't do anything about it. And I think that's also okay. And it's very normal. Yeah.
All right. So this is one of the last questions we'll be asking as part of the panel before we move into our Q&A segment. So this is kind of just a holistic question, and you can share as many cool stories as you'd like to, as many pieces of advice that you'd like to share. But what has helped you get to where you are right now?
I guess I can start off. Number one, and like I think someone already like emphasized this even more, but honestly, networking, like it's the number one thing I can honestly say. I started really early in school, and that was something that honestly seemed a little bit weird to, well, I don't want to say weird, but maybe a little odd to my friends who were, really heads down, focusing on school, maybe one or two clubs. But I think that honestly, I would never have said that like I would be speaking at places like every weekend, or I would honestly be doing what I am doing. And I think it is because someone had suggested, there is of course LinkedIn, and I didn't even know of the platform until like I want to say like 3 years ago maximum. And aside from I guess social media networking, honestly, if you want to like talk to someone, many people are completely willing to just have an online chat. And I've been doing that randomly. People just ask, and I think that people are completely okay with doing that. And networking can be within social media, like I mentioned, but also maybe even just speaking to like your school counselors. Like that was something I did. I would, and it seemed kind of weird to my friends too, like randomly just setting up talks, talking about the future. Not even counselors, but also like other educators. Honestly, just like kind of trying to carve my path through networking has been an incredible resource I can honestly recommend.
Yeah. And like network, I'm not going to labor the point. Networking and kind of talking and meeting with people, even this is networking to some extent. You're learning people's names, you're learning their faces. And so now there's like, you can say, if you want to reach out to anybody here on the panel, I'm sure if you just say, hey, I saw you at the panel and I had a question that didn't get answered, any one of us would be happy to answer your question. So it doesn't always have to be this like scary talking to this person you've never met. But not to labor the point, resources, to be honest, and to what Preeti was saying, was sharing information. Like you don't you don't always know the answer, or worse, sometimes what feels worse is not knowing where to look to find the answer. And so just being open and sharing information and not thinking that you have to hold everything tight to the chest. It only helps us all if there's more resources and more things that we can all go to online. And all of them will say this career, this industry is all about problem solving. There's a big problem, and now we're going to use technology, and it's very many tools and features and cool things to put together in a way that doesn't make any sense originally to solve a problem. And so just using the resources you have available to you, sharing resources if you come across cool things, and talking to people, whether that be in Discord and meetups and hackathons, and just kind of absorb as much as you possibly can. But that's what helped me to get where I am today.
So I would say three things, right? I cannot emphasize more on networking. Networking is extremely important. So that comes as a point one. Of course, second is believe in yourself. What got me here where I am is believe in yourself. I can do it attitude, right? I mean, I can solve this. And in that process, explore. When you believe in yourself, is what you do is you go out there, you learn, you explore, and when you explore and when you try to learn something, you may fail, right? So take failures as the steps in a ladder for you to move upwards, right? So what three things I would say got me here is believe in yourself, network, as find your appetite, because some people may be introverts, some are extroverts, some love to network all the time, and as Vivian said, this itself is networking, right? So don't put a definition to box in networking that, oh, I'm networking only if I go to conferences and I talk to so many people and all. No, meeting any new person, making a connection, in which you can help them and they can help you, it is networking, right? So networking, believe in yourself, explore around, and it's okay. Again, I would say it's okay to fail, is what got me here.
I think, yeah, again, with everyone said, like, networking, super important. I just want to but like, instead of like forcing, like, I would say go to the events that you want to go to, like, and like there are a bunch, right? Like Women in Tech and like hackathons, and just like hang out with people, like your peers. Like peer networking is super important as well. Not just like, and I also want to preference, like, don't network for the chance of like, oh, I want to get something out of this. I think just like make friends, like genuinely, and I think that will help you long term, because like everything that I've gotten through networking maybe is, it wasn't from somebody that I thought like was going to help me at that time, but later on, like 2 years later, they became XYZ, and they were like, oh, hey Vivian, this is a great blah blah blah, come do this. And so like, yeah, just like, I think, like, yeah, genuinely just being yourself, and I think you're going to be great. Yeah.
And just adding the last few points, yeah, always be like learning and trying to put those learning into actions. And also talking about your fears is very important, and whether it's like a community setup, you can follow other people who are talking about their fears and kind of echo on that if that makes you start the conversation. But that way you can like start to have your own network around either imposter syndrome or being a woman in tech or being the first person doing this role or working at a startup, whatever the case is. That way you have some commonalities, and you can share and grow and learn with each other. I think that's been very helpful for me. And using those like tips and tricks to apply it to my own experiences, I think it's, kind of like helping me to get to where I am and where I want to be. For example, like I want to work in VC one day, right? I'm obviously not in VC. I manage a fintech product, super close domain, but I might have to figure out, where those friends of mine VCs are and trying to collaborate with them, and seeing, how I could leverage their experiences and skills and also give something that I know in return, to kind of like, get to that next level, whenever that is. So that's kind of like a strategy that I'm thinking of doing. And that would be using the community and talking about my fears of like, in certain things regarding fintech and helping me leverage that to get to where I am, to craft my own story one day for that experience.
All right, so now we'll be moving into our Q&A session. So the floor is open for any participant to, you can either message me, you can unmute yourself and speak out loud. You can raise your hand. Oh, I see we have one hand already, so guess that, give me a second. But yeah, please, like, this is your space. Please say, like, please ask any questions you want. Don't be afraid. Yeah, you can go ahead. I can't see your name, but go ahead, please.
Okay. Hi. First of all, I want to thank you for all your great advice. I've been learning a lot and I've been writing it down and everything. I wanted to ask you something about networking. You guys all emphasize like how important it is. What advice would you give to somebody who's shyer or feels people? Like what advice would you give to putting themselves out there? And if you've like ever experienced that kind of anxiety, how did you overcome it?
I'll start the question to answer. I definitely had a lot of, I guess, anxiety when I began making a career transition, especially, and the thing that I like had the biggest problem with was introducing myself as the thing that I was. And that, I guess that kind of ties into imposter syndrome a little bit, like, especially because I was kind of coming more the self-taught route. I was at like, what point could I introduce myself as this thing that I'm trying to be if I'm not there? And it was this weird thing. So I would like I have to give advice. Don't, especially if you're a bit more anxious about it, don't start big, start small. Don't worry about, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Start with talking to your friends and peers, like people you know at your school, in the clubs you're part of, and start and get comfortable introducing yourself and how you're to introduce yourself and what you would say about yourself, and just kind of like how you would talk to people naturally. And then from there, build yourself up, go, and then at the next elevate, like, or the next hackathon you join, don't worry about introducing yourself to the room. Introduce yourself to one new person, just one new person that you don't know. And it sounds, it's one of those things where there's no really big quick fix for you. It's about becoming comfortable with talking about yourself, really, and realizing that you do have something, that you do have things to say that people would love to hear. And because you always think that, I'm not going to be, I don't know what everyone wants to hear. I'm not the smartest in the room, or whatever the case may be. And trust me, the people listening, that's not what they're worried about. They honestly just want to hear who you are and what you have to bring to the table, because there's always something that you can learn from another human being, whether that be about this, industry specific, or just life in general. So just start small and work your way up.
The way I would put it is, if you think you are shy, right? I would say coming up and asking this question and being the first one, you did it, right? So what you need to do is investigate it a little bit. Of course, everyone has their own nature, and that nature and their, you don't want to change what you are, believe in yourself, right? First of all, now where does that shyness or introvert or that fear of talking to someone or so come from? Investigate a little bit. What happens is, in our mind, what we think is, oh, what would she think, or what would he think, or am I saying the right thing, or am I going to embarrass myself? Investigate a little bit. Why are you feeling shy? And when you investigate, ask your questions. Do some homework before going. If you are going to a club, let's say, your school, high school club, or do a little homework. What's it about? Or if it's going to be something like it's a very casual club, do some general knowledge. Prepare some points that you would talk about, or you could talk about. It could be general, or it could be very specific to the club that you have gone. So doing a little bit homework in your mind, that having those points, because at those times when you're feeling shy, you may not remember what to talk about. You're just in that anxious feeling. You even forget what you should talk, or what you're supposed to talk, and just thinking about what others would think, is you need to keep that aside. So just prepare yourself a little bit. Don't worry about what he or she would think, because that's their business, what they think. Just go out there, find out what is the purpose, what's in it for you, why are you there. And networking, do not define it in a box, like meeting, having 100 friends on LinkedIn, or having 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, or having 100 Facebook friends or so. There's no definition. Go out there, talk what you like, be prepared. Don't worry about what he or she, because investigate, why are you feeling shy, because there are those thoughts going on in your mind which are making you further shy. I myself, I'm neither a super introvert or super extrovert. I am at the border, and I say at the border because we have done some personality tests at work, and I used to always feel that, where am I? I'm not a too extrovert, or I'm not a too introvert, right? I could and the personality test came out exactly that I'm at that border, right? So keep that thought away, that I'm shy, right? First of all, or accept it, and like keep it aside. Okay, I accept I'm shy, keep it aside. Yes. Now just investigate what is making you feel anxious about going out there and talking to people. Just go out there, prepare a little, and that would help you.
Um,
I, I did.
Oh,
I
sorry.
did. Sorry, I just wanted to give one more tip to Simon. I think it's okay to use online, like this whole virtual thing that we're happening because of COVID, as a way to network, and through lunchclub.com or other types of platforms. And when you network, it's okay to also have scripts about yourself and what you're trying to network about written on your screen when you're actually doing it. I think that was very helpful for me, especially when I wanted to get to know that person or see what he or she was doing in their industry. That way I didn't like stumble over. And I also felt more comfortable throughout like the 10-15 minutes of the conversation. And then that was like one way to kind of put myself out there, even though I was kind of shy and a little bit scared of what they might think of me, was to prepare myself with these scripts, these like things I could read out loud, to connect with that person. And over time, I didn't need the scripts anymore. It came naturally because I would be doing it like twice a week.
Yeah, so this is a question. It's a bit of a technical one. One of our participants messaged it to me in the chat, so I'll put it in the public chat in a second. But they want me to ask, what technologies do you use in your daily jobs, like programming languages, frameworks, etc.? I will copy paste this and put this in the chat.
I use Objective-C, and I'm an iOS developer, so like a lot of like it. Yep.
Yeah, like Vivian, I use Objective-C, a bit of Swift, Xcode. The great thing about the great and bad, I guess, there's pros and cons to everything about being an iOS developer is that it's very specific to like what you can use to do what you need to do, which makes it great in that it doesn't become overwhelming, but it can be not so great sometimes because there's only so many tools you can use to solve your problem, which means you have to be a bit more creative sometimes about how you solve said problems. But yeah, and then obviously extra, like not so much, I guess you're specifically asking for programming languages and frameworks, so I'll leave that there.
If you're learning it, do not learn in Objective-C. Just learn Swift, okay?
Go straight to Swift.
Do not do you can learn Objective-C if the work needs it, which I only learned it because of work. I don't get it, like I only knew Swift before starting my job. So yeah.
I would agree. Don't put any emphasis on learning Objective-C. Anything you need to know if in a work setting, you'll learn. And to be honest, at the age group we're talking to, by that time, it might be something else by then anyway. So don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, I think that was a question mainly directed towards our developers here. We have Peace, they're raising their hand. You can unmute yourself and ask a question. You see there? Okay, I think while they come back, I had one question that I wanted to ask, and this is also from a technical standpoint, but what is one piece of practical advice you would give to students who are interested in following a similar pathway to what you have taken?
If you want to be an iOS developer, I'm gonna say you're gonna just build stupid apps. Like build the most like mundane, like whatever, and you learn so much through them. Like I literally make an app that like it's a quiz app, like just a quiz app. It's only one screen, but like you learn so much. Like highly recommend. Just like make any app, any idea you have, wireframe it, build it. Yeah.
I would definitely piggyback on that as well. Build things. Don't worry about it. It has to be this thing that's useful. It could just be useful to you. It could already, or even better, create something that already exists. And the great thing about that's like not working on novel things is that you know how they're supposed to work. Like you know what a calculator is supposed to do. And so you know when your calculator doesn't work properly. You know what a quiz game is supposed to feel like. And so you'll know what it feels like. You'll know where you're going wrong because yours doesn't operate how you expect it to. Don't worry about working on like novel things, and then to jump from that is like so build things. And then I lost my train of thought there, but if I come back to it, I'll jump back on, but I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, and I would just add to that. I mean, I left coding almost 10, 15 years ago. But what I would say is start small, as Vivian and Tiana said, right? Start small, go out there, look for technologies that you like. It could be, I mean, if you're high schoolers, right? So it could be as small as, learn Python or Java, or just go out there, start small, start building things, put your creativity in there, because every piece of code or every piece of app is your creativity, right? I mean, you take something that exists and give it a twist from your side, right? Be creative. Go out there, start small, learn the basics, learn what that coding language, what are the basic functions and basics, for that technology. Clear your fundamentals, be strong on the fundamentals of that technology, and start out small. Nothing is small when you are learning it, right? So go out there, code, build, and be creative.
I just remembered what I was going to say. Don't worry too much about which language and which framework and try and learn 3 different languages all at the same time. It will set you back way further. Learning languages is like just about learning like how they're written. It has nothing to do like with something special. They all have the same basic principles behind them for the most part. So just pick when you're starting, just pick something that you enjoy. Like, if it's iOS development, then obviously you're going to learn Swift. If it's web development, then maybe JavaScript. But like, pick something that you're interested in, that you want to build things for, and start building things. When you need to learn new skills, you'll know when you'll need to learn like a new language or a new skill, because you're going to get to the point in your project where you're like, hey, I want to add this thing. I want to make it do this thing. And the thing you're trying to do, and then you're like, oh, I probably need to learn a bit about this if I want to be able to do this thing that I want my thing to do. So don't worry about like piling on the languages or piling on the frameworks. It's not going to help you in the long run.
All right, so I guess we'll take our last question from our participants. Peace, if you'd like to unmute yourself. You have your hand raised. If you don't want to say it out loud, you can text it to me and I'll ask. Don't be afraid. Okay, I guess we're not getting any response from there, so we can move on. If you have your, Seema, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I have another question. Was there ever a time where you felt like maybe CS wasn't for you? It just got really frustrating on one project and you felt like you wanted to quit, and how did you overcome that and like continue on?
Okay, so I have a whole thing on this, but so I dropped out of college. I dropped out of university as a sophomore, and I was like, well, it wasn't. It like I think I'm really frustrated with my school and how they structured things, but like in addition, like maybe sometimes like the first thing you should learn isn't like C++. Like it's okay to not like a certain way of teaching or a professor or like maybe a project. Like just because you may not succeed in this does not mean that you are not meant for CS. Like I work at Instagram. Not that it's like I did not graduate with a CS degree. You do not have to graduate with a CS degree. I just want you to know, like, you can do it and you can learn what you need to learn in very different ways, and nobody learns the same way. So like, don't give up. I've cried so many times over feeling like I did not belong in tech sometimes, just because I'm like, why can't I get this? Why is it so hard? Why does it take me longer? And it's okay if it takes you longer. Just like get back up, ask questions. There's people who are willing to help you, and there's guides out there. And take it day by day. Maybe you don't solve it today, but you can solve it another day. Yeah. And yeah.
The way I would put is, it's your, you will figure out when you get frustrated. You will figure out. That's what happened to me. As I said, that I got too um, motivated by while I was selling a software, and I got motivated into that. And 10 years I did as an engineer, developer, coding in. I would say first 10 years of my career. And after that, I literally started feeling frustrated. So it may not happen to you. Frustration may not come to you during your college days. It may happen to you later in your career as well. And after 10 years, I started feeling frustrated with coding and all. And, there are so many avenues with CS and related to CS. So don't feel yourself that just coding is an excellent, coding and developing is an excellent field. But if you feel frustrated, there are other fields in there. So that's where I kind of moved myself into designing applications, just designing, and analyzing the business needs, and then giving it to the developers. So as you grow, you may develop, you will figure out that are you liking it, are you not liking it. And there are, like, at my age, in this, with this 20 plus 25 years of experience, there are excellent coders, and I figured out after 10 years of my career, that's not me. I moved on into analyzing, designing, project management programs. So there is so much out there, related to CS. So even later in the career, or you know, if you figure out, there are so many related fields to do. So hear your you know, yourself, and go ahead and do what you want. But don't feel down if you feel frustrated with CS. There's so much out there also to do.
And I think also, like, I remind myself how hard I have worked to get to where I am today. So I think that's one thing that also I try to remember, to keep pushing forward, right? And also, like, you know, and then feeling like, am I the only one that thinks like this? Is everyone, do they all have their shit together? But then when you like connect with your community, you can see that everyone feels that way from time to time, right? And that's completely normal. It's just, I think it's how you handle it. And also, you know, if you want to explore something else besides CS, that's totally normal too, right? And also, you know, don't like set yourself short and say, like, you know, just because I graduated with this, I have to just do this. There's so many ways you can still use your skills in CS to apply to other types of fields. So, but always remembering your why and figuring out, like, what do I like about CS? Okay, forget what I don't like about CS, but what do I like about it? And is that more, I guess, in the priority list, like, is that more, you know, important to me than, you know, what I don't like about CS right now? And then you can weigh the two and keep pushing forward and connecting with people and asking for help, learning on your own. Like, you have to put like work in, especially if you're not good at something. But over time, right, that will pay off. At least I've seen that time and time again.
Yeah. And just listening to everyone's responses will kind of, it shows, to Cin's point, just how it's not like it's an up and down. Like, sometimes you feel great about what you're doing, sometimes you don't. And to Cin's point, like, at the beginning, I said I graduated from university with an environmental science degree. Not because, and I didn't change because I didn't like my degree or whatever. It's just sometimes your interests change, and what you do is you don't necessarily always have to like completely abandon things. You can always, there's things you learn and skills, and like if CS, you know, if down the road CS is no longer the thing you're interested in because something else has captured your attention, go down that route and kind of and entertain that and enjoy that. And if it's, you know, if you find that, no, I like everything about, then stay and continue and work and put the time in. But don't always feel like, nothing in life has to always be linear. Allow yourself to ebbs and flows, and allow yourself to kind of ride those waves. And if you're really struggling, like really, and you're not really sure, always talk to people. Whether that be family, friends, professionals, always talk to people. You'll quickly realize that like nobody has it figured out all the time. Nobody.
Right. So as we're moving towards the end, we're also a little bit slightly over time, so I hope that's okay with you guys. This is, I guess, just a few final notes. Do you have any final tips or words of encouragement for students? This is anything, really.
I guess I can start off. It's really, really basic, I guess you could say. But honestly, like, if you have something you want to do, just do it. Like, I know it seems very basic, but like, I was, you know, hearing like lots of external opinions. I was kind of experiencing a lot of peer pressure, but I just said, like, especially when you're meeting new people, like, something that really, like, I guess soothes the anxiety for me is saying, like, these are people just like you, and, you know, eventually everyone has to go down a certain path to be able to get that certain role that you're looking forward to. And if you don't, you know, go down the exact path that you're seeing many people go down, that it's completely okay to take your own path and just do what feels right for you and what you really, really want to do.
Yep, same. I would just summarize everything what we all talked about. You know, believe in yourself as final tips, right? Believe in yourself. Go out there. You know, ask for help whenever you feel in any situation. Go out, ask for help. You can do it, right? And you know, challenge yourself to learn more, grow more, share more. But at the same time, it might sound an oxymoron, but it take it easy, right? Don't take yourself so seriously, and define your own success, define your own growth mindset, and go for it. You can do it, and because this is especially a women event, I would say, do not in any situation, do not feel that just being a woman, there is anything you cannot do. Uh, there are certain things that only women can do, and I would remind yourself that when 1960s, when the computer software industry started, the women were the on the top, who were actually handling the computers, data entry, and software development and all. Women were the first ones in the computer industry. So I would say, just go out there, learn, ask, share, and eventually, like, believe in yourself.
I would say start networking or continue networking. That means helping people with whatever you know. Like, even if you don't think they'll need it, just still offer it. And also trying to, be, someone's friend, and figuring out, like, connecting with them and understanding, like their passion, as well as, like, sharing yours. I think that'll eventually spark interest. So approach networking that way, and these will be the people that you'll reach out when you need help. So I think it's very important to do that.
I think my one thing is like, you're young once. I know this is like bad, like, not like advice, but just like, I think have fun too, like do what you enjoy doing, because sometimes I look back at like during internships or like where like I was just head down coding, and I really didn't get to enjoy the moment where there's like a bunch of intern events and like you're meeting people and you're having fun, you're doing this, you're doing that. Take those times, because you're never an intern again, or you never get to go back to like college once you finish it, or like high school. Like those times, just enjoy the moment while you're in it too. Like I know that like there's a lot of pressure to like succeed XYZ. Like you're gonna do amazing. Just like remember to have fun and like live life. Yeah.
One thing that I remember like being told a lot when I was younger was like, and playing sports, was the game isn't just fun from the bench. Like and where that kind of, I've seen that in life, is that if you sitting around and waiting for things to happen for you sometimes it's not the people who go out and have the most fun, or who make the most success, or who achieve their goals, or whatever it is that they're trying to do in life, is like they're constantly putting themselves out there. They're constantly, like, even if it's uncomfortable, like to the networking point, they're constantly reaching out to people. Even if they don't like doing it, they're doing it. They're taking opportunities. They're not waiting until they're an expert in something before they just say, hey, I want to give this a try. Now, and a lot of people say, like, the fake it so you'll make it. Be honest about like your skills and abilities, but still put yourself out there. Still join hackathons. Still, again, this is both in CS and non-CS and just in life in general. Just constantly remember that, like, if for things to be put in motion, the universe needs to know you have some skin in the game. You have to constantly be putting yourself out there. That's me and my sister like to say that to each other all the time. The universe only rewards people who put some skin in the game. So sometimes you kind of have to take a leap of faith, and sometimes it'll work out and sometimes it won't, but it won't be for lack of trying, and you won't regret something. If you've tried, you'll regret the day you didn't try.
Sorry, I was just writing down some of the amazing things you've been saying. Yeah, so that's basically the conclusion of our panel. A lot of our panelists are in our Discord platform. So if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them. They're always here to answer any questions. We talked a lot about networking throughout this entire panel. So yeah, get started today, guys. I mean, I should probably too, but like, You guys too. Yeah, and that's basically it. We would like to thank all of our panelists for coming out here today, imparting such good advice and just, you know, life skills. Like I got some like solid wisdom from this panel, and it's crazy how much you can learn from like a little more than 1.5 hours. So yeah, thank you guys for all coming out here. And up on the board, we just have the few upcoming events that are coming in a little bit. I think the times are off, so please double check with our schedule on our website. But yeah, we have a college panel that's going to start in just a few minutes, in like 20 minutes or so. So that's that, and all the rest of the things are on the screen. Also, I forgot to say this earlier. If you'd like to reach out to our panelists, we have their social medias on our website, and I think a lot of them have also dropped it into the Zoom chat. So please feel free to connect with them. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
Of course,
you.
yeah, I just
Bye,
want to add
everyone.
on that.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I just want to add on that the panel is gonna start in 5 minutes, the college tech panel, and not in 20 minutes.
Uditi, can you stop recording?